questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 3.
Good morning. I've been looking at your holidays to Australia in your brochure. I'm thinking of going during the second half of next month.
Good morning. As you can see from our brochure, we offer a wide variety of packages to various destinations in Australia. Is there anything in particular that interests you?
Yes, my husband and I are very interested in the holidays in the Outback.
These holidays are becoming increasingly popular. Would you like to arrange flights and accommodation with us, or just accommodation?
Can you arrange flights from Sydney?
Certainly.
OK, flights and accommodation then.
Right, you said that you wanted to travel next month. Which date would you prefer? I should point out that there are no daily flights available, so if you have a flexible itinerary, that's better.
Well, we arrive in Sydney on the 15th of April, and we were thinking of travelling to the Outback on the 18th of August. April.
OK, there's only one flight from Sydney to Alice Springs on the 18th, so I'll book you on that. It leaves at 10 in the morning, which is quite convenient. Shall I book 2 seats for you?
Yes, please.
As for your stay in the Outback, you can see from the brochure that we offer 3 packages: budget, standard and luxury. The budget package is about $500 Australian dollars, the standard package is about $700 and the luxury one is approximately $1,000, though it does depend on exactly what you would like regarding extras. Which one would you prefer?
Well, we can't decide between the budget and standard options.
Well, actually, just looking at my computer here, on the date that you want to fly into Alice Springs, there is no standard accommodation available. It's fully booked, I'm afraid.
That's okay. We think that the cheapest one should be fine for us. We don't mind roughing it for a few days, and we don't expect to be spending much time at our accommodations. We prefer the outdoors.
Right, let's look at the room options.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 4 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 4 to 10.
First of all, would you prefer a non-smoking room?
Yes, neither of us smokes.
OK.
Oh, before I forget, could you book everything in my husband's name, please?
Yes, of course. Are you paying by credit card?
Yes.
In that case, I'll need your husband's name exactly as it appears on the card.
Of course, it's John A. Smythe. That's Smythe with a Y.
John, middle initial A, surname Smythe, S-M-Y-T-H. Is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you. I'll just check the price. The room will cost $100 a night plus $10 tax, so $110 per night in total. Is that okay?
Yes, that's fine. Book us for 3 nights, please.
Most of the guests like to participate in some special activities and trips while they are staying in the Outback. Is there anything that interests you and your husband?
Yes, there are several things we'd like to see and do. We'd definitely like to visit the cultural centre.
Yes, that's very popular. It's within walking distance of the accommodation and it's free. It's also a great place to pick up souvenirs of your trip.
We were thinking about visiting one of the nearby farms.
There are 2 farms nearby, a sheep farm and a kangaroo farm. There is also an opportunity to ride camels in the desert. Have you ridden a camel before?
No, but it sounds like fun. Could you give me some more details about the kangaroo farm and the camel ride?
Certainly. The kangaroo farm includes information on how the animals are raised, whilst the camel ride provides information on desert flora and fauna. Which would you prefer? You can arrange to see the kangaroos in the wild if you like, rather than on a farm.
That sounds perfect. OK, we'll go on the camel ride and see the kangaroos in their natural habitat.
OK, I'll arrange that for you. I forgot to mention that the journey also includes a stop at a place of Aboriginal artwork. It's a place well known for its stone carvings of animals and mythical creatures.
That sounds great. Are the carvings in the desert?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Well, that's perfect then. I'm sure you'll have a lovely trip, but remember that you need to take care in the sun.
Yes, we're really looking forward to our trip. We really want to try to experience the dream time under the stars.
Of course. That's what a trip to the Outback is really all about.
Yes. Now, how about the cost?
That is the end of section 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 2.
Section 2. You will hear the chairperson of the Middletown Urban Farming Scheme talking to a group of people who are interested in joining the scheme. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 16 on page 3. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 16.
I'm Chris Butler, and I'm the chairperson of the Middletown Urban Farming Scheme, or MUFS for short, a highly successful program which encourages city dwellers to grow their own fruit and vegetables, to become city farmers, if you will. Who started MUFS? Well, the idea of urban farming has been around for quite a while, particularly among town planners. But it was actually a group of Middletown business people, including myself, who decided to create what became MUFS. University agriculture specialists got involved later. Now, initially, the aim was not some eco-friendly goal of reducing CO2 emissions caused by the transport of food from farm to dinner plate. It was simply to maximize the utilization of the vacant or idle land that lies within the city. Of course, later we realized that an additional benefit might be a healthier diet for local people. Let me tell you a bit about the groups that have joined the scheme. We've got any number of schools involved and loads of corporate employees, so our message seems to have been well received there. But for next year, we're going to concentrate on getting various community centers, like those for senior citizens, to join, because so far they've been somewhat slow to take up the scheme. Now, the core committee of the MUFS is a group of dedicated gardeners. They probably won't be familiar with your specific plot of land. They're mostly amateurs. But they are the people who know the ins and outs of gardening, and they will be happy to sit down with any MUFS member and make some hands-on suggestions about gardening. But don't expect them to know the answers to technical questions, like the Latin names of plants. The MUFS are keen to support members who are physically disabled. We're looking at the possibility of providing specially adapted gardening tools on loan to members who can't cope with regular tools. That's not happening yet. But we do have some window boxes as well as larger containers, which we can distribute free of charge to these members, although they will have to provide their own soil and compost themselves. I'm especially proud of the work we've done with the local schools, both grade school level and high schools. The teachers say that they knew the scheme would be of some practical use in science classes like biology. Despite the original hopes of some, the fruit and vegetable plots haven't provided cheaper lunches for their students. But what they didn't anticipate was the change in attitude that the scheme has created amongst their students. They say the students have become much more conscious of their surrounding environment. They want to keep it neat and tidy. Keep it neat and tidy.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 17 to 20 on page 4. Now listen and answer questions 17 to 20.
Now, a number of local organizations and businesses provide our members with free goods and services. Let me go through some of them. The city hospital, as you might expect, has to provide thousands of meals for its patients. So the manager of its kitchen runs a course for our members on how to use vegetables in a huge variety of dishes. The local government found it had a large glass building, which the Parks Department used to start off flower seeds and young plants during the winter, and they agreed to allow our members to use this free of charge to get their own little seedlings off to a good start. Another thing, the university has agreed that if members send them a sample of their soil, they will do a series of tests on it to indicate what kind of plants will grow best and what types of fertilizer and nutrients would be best to use. And just to make sure our members know what's good for them, a supermarket is offering a series of classes on how to lose weight and stay healthy by having a sensible diet. Now, let's talk about the practicalities.
That is the end of section 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now
Section 3. You will hear 2 primary school trainee teachers called Stefan and Magda discussing their placements for science teaching. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 26 on page 6. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 26.
Hi Magda, how was your placement?
It went really well. The kids really enjoyed the science I did with them.
So did mine. I think they found it very motivating.
Yes, the programme we had to teach was much better than the old-style science experiments we did at school.
Yes, though I don't understand why the children should have to build a model of a steam engine. I tried it with the kids, but I couldn't get it to work.
Me neither, and it really shows it's hard to get any real results.
Yes, and it's usually the children's parents, rather than the kids themselves, who favour that type of experiment. So what experiments did you do?
Well, one day a discussion started in class about breakfast cereals, about which one was best. One child then said that we should test them in class.
That's a nice idea.
Yes, and it wasn't expensive. We brought 4 different brands of cereal and had everyone evaluate them for taste, appearance and sogginess in milk.
And are you going to tell me which one won?
No, I'll let you do it yourself. It obviously isn't difficult to set up. Another experiment we did, the sports teacher's idea actually, was to spend a morning seeing how high various balls bounced. For example, do new tennis balls bounce higher than old ones? And do basketballs that are fully inflated bounce better than flatter ones?
And I guess you got some interesting data?
We did, and they had to make a chart to plot the results. It really improved their grasp of charts and graphs and calculation. Apparently they'd had problems understanding the point of graphs in the past.
Did all your experiments work out okay?
Well, we had one lesson on making paper from grass. The children made a terrible mess in the classroom. Whatever they did didn't work, and it wasn't because it was difficult. I think it was because it didn't engage them at all. It didn't seem to motivate them.
My tie-dyeing experiment went well. They had to get a piece of material and twist it into a rope and then dye it. The children did end up with blue and green hands for a few days, though.
But don't you need to spend more than one lesson on that?
Yes, we did it over 3 classes. The children really loved it, though, and one suggested we make scarves from the result. I declined, as my sewing skills aren't up to much.
I guess the one experiment that everyone loved in my class was making glue from milk. I thought it would be a complete failure, but in fact it worked brilliantly. One reason, I suspect, is that they got feedback straight away. Some children get really restless if they have to wait for anything interesting to happen.
Yes, I think that's always a good idea. Really helps to make it a success.
Before you hear the rest of the discussion, you have some time to look at questions 27 to 30 on page 7. Now listen and answer questions 27 to 30.
I see you've got a diagram there for one of your experiments.
Yes, it was an idea I got from the internet. It was very easy and straightforward to set up. The idea is to make a condenser to extract essences from plants. The large container's made of metal.
Right, and that holds the hot water?
That's right, and it has a strainer which sits inside it. This is where you put the plant matter. We use plants like rosemary, as the essence you can extract is quite strong.
So what's the container right at the top?
It's made of glass. It's where we put the ice. The glass container has a drip tip at the bottom.
What's that for?
It's where the essence collects.
Where does the essence go then?
Into the dish at the bottom. It's made of pottery.
Sounds good. I might try it with my class.
That is the end of section 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Today, we will discuss the Adwaita turtle, a species that has drawn significant attention due to its unique characteristics and conservation challenges. These turtles are typically found in streams of fresh water, where they thrive in slow-moving water. Their preferred environment consists of shallow areas with abundant vegetation, offering both food and shelter. Unlike some other turtles, they are not well adapted to deep or fast-moving rivers. One of the most distinguishing features of the Adwaita turtle is its shell. Unlike species with tough, protective outer layers, this turtle's shell is unusually fragile. This makes it highly vulnerable to predators and environmental damage. As a result, they tend to stay hidden for long periods, avoiding direct threats whenever possible. Another key characteristic is their strong claws, which serve multiple purposes. These turtles use their claws for digging burrows in soft riverbeds, allowing them to rest safely out of sight. Additionally, their claws help them in foraging as they scrape through mud and vegetation to uncover food sources. Speaking of diet, Adwaita turtles are omnivorous, meaning they consume both plant and animal matter. While they often feed on insects and aquatic plants, they are also known to eat mushrooms that grow near the water's edge. These fungi provide essential nutrients that contribute to their growth and overall health. Despite their adaptability, Adwaita turtles face significant risks. Their population is currently under a critical threat due to several environmental challenges. Deforestation and water pollution have destroyed many of their natural habitats, making it increasingly difficult for them to find safe nesting areas. One of the greatest dangers they face comes from domestic dogs. These animals often disturb nesting sites, preying on young turtles before they have a chance to develop properly. Conservation efforts have attempted to reduce these attacks by setting up protective barriers around known nesting areas. Another issue impacting their survival is climate change. Rising temperatures and deforestation have led to a loss of moisture in many of their traditional habitats. As a result, some areas that once supported these turtles have now become dry, forcing them to migrate in search of better conditions. Unfortunately, many turtles do not survive these long journeys. To combat these challenges, conservationists have implemented species relocation programs. These initiatives involve moving turtles from high-risk zones to safer, protected areas where they can thrive without external threats. In some cases, relocating turtles has required creative solutions. Due to the difficult terrain in certain regions, researchers have used an elephant to help transport turtles across long distances. This has proven to be an effective method for ensuring their safe relocation. Finally, community involvement plays a crucial role in conservation efforts. Local populations are now receiving specialized training on how to protect Adwaita turtles and their habitats. By educating people on the importance of these turtles, conservationists hope to create long-term solutions that will secure their future.